This is Vision 2015. Today I want to cover 5 tips for successful strategic planning. Tip number 4 for how to get strategic planning that actually works. Plan to act. It's not about the plan, right? This is a strategic plan. This one happens to be from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. I just selected this one because I happened to find it online. I Googled strategic plan and this is the one that popped up. So just wanted to share why we shared that. I'm not knocking the U.S. Department of Health. Is anybody here from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services? No, okay. So this is an awful plan. It's obviously very thick and glossy, but this does nothing to improve your organization. You got to think about strategic planning like this. It's not about the document that you're going to create. It's about the results you're going to create after the document. The document is not that important. It's what you're going to do next that really drives the change, right? Has anybody ever emerged from a strategic planning session with more profitability? Did you just come out and like your accountant's like, I don't know what you just did, but go back in the conference room because that was tremendous. We're just cashing checks up here. Thanks. Go back in the conference room and go meet, right? They might tell some of us to go, some of our people may tell some of us to go away and go in the conference room because they can make more money without us, but it's for different reasons than strategic planning, right? We stay out of our own way. People tend to focus on the tasks at hand, and the tasks that are at hand, as soon as you leave here, what are you going to do? You're going to pull out your phones, right? And you're going to check to see how many emails you've got, right? Look, I've got a bunch of them. And you're going to start to think about replying to those emails. And you're going to see what's happening, and you're going to look at your calendar, and you're going to see what you're going to do next, right? Are you thinking strategically at that point? You're just doing, right? You're working in your business instead of on your business. And that's okay, and that's what you have to do sometimes. But you also have to make some time to work on your business, not just in your business. You've heard this before, right? So the strategic plan can't just be a plan. Everyone knows the American Red Cross, right? American Red Cross is here. Jamie Peebles is, where's Jamie at? Jamie's been the president of the board at the American Red Cross. Absolutely anybody who has been, anybody who's impacted by Joplin knows what the Red Cross did for our community at that point, or anybody that's ever had a fire or anything. The Red Cross is out there, they're on site. They are absolutely, and they will respond anytime, middle of the night, anytime. They're always on call. They are always task driven, okay? But their board said, we want to take a step back and we want to really understand how can we take action. We see these things that are happening. The board's not out responding to these things. The board's not on call. The board meets monthly, and they look at what's happening in the organization. They said, we need to take some action. We don't want to just watch what's happening. We want to impact what's happening. So what they started to do was they launched some strategic initiatives. They looked at the strategic direction that they were going, and they launched strategic initiatives, specific things they could do, that they could implement, that would take them a step closer to what they were trying to accomplish. And they got their board involved in those. And then they regularly reviewed what was going on with those. So in their board meeting, instead of pulling up their financials and saying, well, how are we doing? I don't know, some months are better than others. They were taking steps, deliberate steps towards where they wanted to be. And they were engaging their board members on it. And Jamie, did the board get fired up? Extremely fired up. The board was absolutely engaged. The board was excited. They brought new board members on who were very excited to be there. They started using the strengths of the people on the board. They started seeing all these things that we talked about before that comes with engagement because they had a system to implement their plan. So here's what that can look like. So we've been talking about strategic planning, right? I've been lying to you the whole time. We've been talking about strategic systems. A plan is a thing. A system is an ongoing, forever type thing, okay? Here's how it works. Here's how a strategic system works. I'm going to give you an outline of a model for one. Annually, you pull your people together and you have a retreat. And at that retreat, which might be a 1 or 2 day retreat, depending on how complex your organization is, might be even longer. You may decide to do some things ahead of time to collect information. But at that retreat, you discuss your vision, mission, and values. If you don't have those things, you need those. You know what vision, mission, values really are? Mission is the definition of what the game you're playing is. Vision is what winning the game looks like, and values are the rules. How can you ever be successful if you don't know what game you're playing, or what winning the game looks like, or what the rules to the game are? So if you don't have those, you need to start with that. Okay? The second thing you do is you do your typical SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. How many of you have done a SWOT analysis before? That can be a discussion. Sometimes companies go out and get them. Sometimes they get their customers involved. Sometimes they get the market involved. Sometimes they get their employees involved. Sometimes they do all of those things. Sometimes they do none of those things. But it's a discussion on what's working for us and what's not working for us. Because as an organization, you're going to want to pivot on what you're good at doing. You're going to want to find what your core strengths are, and you're going to want to work within those strengths instead of fighting against them. Okay? Then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to create key objectives for the next year. Key objectives for the next year. For most organizations, this is 3 to 5 key objectives, and I like 3. 3 is a nice clean number. I don't know why I like 3, but it's a nice clean number. If you could have 3 big objectives that anybody in your organization knows what they are for the next year, is that focus? Now, there's things that will support those key objectives, right? So a key objective could be, well, we obviously need to grow our profitability this year. That could be a key objective. We have to grow, we have to become more profitable this year. Now, some of you are thinking, won't that be an objective every year? Not necessarily. You may have a year where you decide to really focus on the systems and let the profitability stay where it's at, but you may decide you need to actually increase and accelerate your profitability. There's different ways that you can be strategic about where you're headed, right? So if increasing profitability is one of your key objectives, what things could you do to support that? There's lots of them, right? We could sell more. We could sell more of the right stuff. We could become more efficient. All those things to help increase your profitability. So you can see, but this is going to really focus on those key objectives. So that's what you come away with this for. What are the big key objectives? Okay. Then quarterly, you're going to have a review, and you're going to look back each quarter on the strategic plan, and you're going to create a progress report. How are we doing on our key objectives? Are we accomplishing what we want to accomplish? And what do we want to accomplish in the next quarter? So now the key objectives are the really big steps, right? Now, what we call these are imperatives, quarterly imperatives. What things can you accomplish within a quarter that are a little bit smaller steps? Well, this quarter we're going to work on these systems, system X, Y, and Z, and we're going to get these in place in our company. And that's going to support our overall key objective of this. You see where we're going with this? So you're breaking it down on a quarterly basis. And you're having really frank discussions about whether it's working or not. So that whenever you get into that quarterly meeting and you're stuck on something, it's real. So you know that this is not working, we're going to stop. We're going to do something different. You see how this plan changes? And then the last thing is you're going to create some action items from that. What things are we going to do next for the next quarter? And then the last part of this are these monthly, what we call them these check-in, these engagement meetings or dashboard meetings where you're going to meet with your top team and you're going to look each month and you're going to look at what we call these steps. And I'm going to talk more about steps later, but steps are an acronym for strategic or tactical engagement projects. You don't have to remember that. They're steps. Okay? A step is something that you're going to pull a team of people together and they're going to change something in your organization. It's the smallest step. It's a basic thing you're going to put into place. We're going to put in this new sales training to help our salespeople because that's going to help our quarterly imperative of increasing sales, which is going to help our overall key objective of improving profitability. You see how that all fits together? And you're engaging people while you're doing it. You update every month on what's happening on the current steps that are working. You've got these step teams that are working and you get updates on them. And then you launch new step teams to change the next things. This is where you're deciding what you're actually doing. What are you actually working on? And I'll give you a hint. You can't work on all of it at the same time. If your people are coming back and they're telling you that we're not making progress, it's because you're working on too many things. Does that make sense? This is a strategic system. This is ongoing. Strategic planning is not a once-a-year event. It's an ongoing direction of your company. This is going to take this plan down to this. We worked with an organization this year that showed up to us and said, we need to update our strategic plan, and it was this thick. Okay, 1,200 people in the organization. This year, we produced for them a strategic plan that was 3 pages long. That 3-page document was taken to their board of directors and showed what they did, and they showed the system that they also put into place to support those 3 pages, and they absolutely love it. Because how much energy does it take to create that? And couldn't you take that energy and use it to implement that? Right?